Today's masterclass is going to be around the proposals, the headers, the footers, kind of templates, kind of best practices around that. So we'll go into that part of it in there as well, kind of more detail about the different bits. Again, it's going to kind of cover those parts. Again, you may have seen some of this already, but just kind of going over it and the best ways to handle, again, updating it and things like that. So I think we're in here, so we'll start the session on there as well. So again, welcome everyone to this masterclass about the proposals. Again, as part of it, it's important to manage. Again, we talked about budget, we talked about setting up your cost book, getting all the back end stuff, the reporting, what kind of things we can generate from that. But a big part of it as well is that when you have the estimate done and managed, you have the pricing correct, you have all the time to spend the cost book, get organized. When you want to generate that and send it to a customer, then this is where you can help the settings. You can help to generate that Word doc. I want that Word document to look, how much information you want to show. I don't want to have some predefined headers and footers so that when I send it out to Word, there's not a lot of things I have to do to clean up that information that's in there. So we do that. Again, we'll kind of focus on the different parts of it and I'll go through the different sections. So how to show the information in the report. So number one is, within the proposal templates that we have, and again, you can have multiple proposal templates for kind of different scenarios depending on what it is we're generating the proposal for. Is it a construction estimate? Is it a maintenance estimate for people that have the maintenance module? Is it a change order? So like we talked about a couple weeks ago with the change orders, you can generate a proposal from there. So you may have different templates for different scenarios. So each of those templates, you can go in and you can edit, you can control how much information I show. So if you have some predefined templates, you can quickly select them and you know how much information I'm going to show on this one. This is for a specific scenario versus other ones. So we'll kind of start at that. Then we'll get into some of the editing, how you can edit them. And then we'll talk a bit about the text. There's certain parts in Manage with respect to the proposal that you can control the text that's going out to Word. So we're going to look at that, the different sizing on there as well. And finally, the actual proposal headers and footers. So again, if I have text that I'm using over and over again, I have a standard, relatively standard header section and terms and conditions. Where do I set those up? How do I modify those? And then edit them going forward. So start with the proposal templates themselves. So again, within each type of estimate, construction or maintenance or change order, I have templates. I'll go into sales and go into my construction estimate here. I'll open up an estimate. I won't even go into like the other parts of the estimate at this point. It's kind of go into the proposal part. So I have the estimate. Under my actions button, I want to view the proposal. So this is how I want to send what I have on here to the Word document on there. Click the proposal. Now this is a screen, again, and the construction estimates, and we'll talk about maintenance as well and change orders, but this is the screen where I'm deciding what do I want to send to Word. So this proposal layout, these are the essentially proposal templates that you can create. This is a drop-down list of you can have different templates. Now, obviously, you want to name them, this is the one I use for change orders. This is the one I use for maintenance. So if you have maintenance and you have a maintenance template, you will see all the templates in this list. It doesn't care what kind of estimate it is you're looking at, but you'll see all of them in here because they do all three share a lot of the same options that you can control with respect to the amount of information I'm sending over. But again, the more detailed you have, the more detailed the name is, oh, this is what I'm selecting this time. This is what I'm picking over here as well. Like I said, you may have one for the customers that's fairly straightforward with a lot of descriptions, but you may have an internal one that is a full detail of just everything on here. Like it's not something we're going to give to the customers, but it's a full printout of Word of everything on this thing, line items, everything, pricing items, again, just for an internal record of that as well. So you could say different layouts for different scenarios. And again, depending on what you choose, basically the proposal headers and footers here will change based on, what's in this layout. If I choose maintenance proposal, this is what I get here. If I choose standard view, I get this. If I choose landscape proposal, these headers and footers come up. Now, I'll talk about these in one second, but basically to control this, the options in here, number one, I have the modify button here. That means I want to edit what's in this this particular layout. I want to give it a different name. I want to show more or less information. I want to default it to certain headers or certain footers. Now, if you know, again, if you know the layout, you click the proposal, that'll send it to Word. But you don't have to click modify every time on here as well to check it. But if you know what it is, you can send it to Word. The other one is the add button. So if you want to add more options to this list, you can click the add button and you'll start with a blank one. You can choose what you'd like and then go from there. If you ever have one that you no longer wish to use, you can click the modify button, and from that screen you can delete it. So I'll click on modify to kind of go over all of the options that we have on a per proposal basis on here as well. Now, again, we've added some new options recently. We're adding these as we come across ones that are going to be useful across the board as well. So we do always add more and more options to this layout section. So I'll click modify to edit this particular layout. So modify button, again, like the same kind of workflow as I go through. What is the name of this proposal template? Landscaping proposal, standard layout for landscaping. You can call it whatever you'd like. So when the guys are using it, when the people are using the system, they know what they're going to get. Now, the name and the drop down, and this section is broken up into multiple areas. The items to show. This is really one of the main parts of these are the different things that I have on the estimate. How much am I going to show? What level of detail am I sending to Word? Then it goes into the other details section, which again, around the items themselves, like after the items, other things like payment details and things like that. And then finally, what proposal headers and footers do I want to default when I select this template? Again, these are still editable on the previous screen. You can take them off, you can turn them on, but typically when I select this, I want these headers and footers to show. So I'll start up at items to show, and we'll kind of go through from there and then go on. Now, it does start, again, it attempts to start up very general at the highest level, show the company info and logo on here as well. Turn that on, you can turn them on or off. And if it's off, there will not be information, no logo, no confirmation across the top in there as well. If it's on, then I have some options as to info beside, to the right, info below, just the logo on there as well. So that's the most basic, the highest level. Now, attached to that, or as part of that, is this page header. So what this means that for the company info and logo, do I want it on the first page only, or do I want it across all of the pages on there as well? So depending on which one you choose, again, you may have some that I have the header on every page, certain ones I just want that on the first page only, and the rest doesn't matter. So those two are tied, are linked together. Now, then we get into the individual kind of information about what's on there. So it does, again, it starts at the most general, again, the work area. So the work areas are always first. If we have work area names, those are going to be displayed on there as well. So I can't uncheck that one. However, I do have an option to show work area prices. So depending on the type of proposal I'm giving, I may just want to show, here's the work area name, here's the description, no price. Here's the work area, and at the very bottom, I can show an overall price as well. Again, it really kind of depends on the type and you want there. So you do have that option to turn the prices of the work areas on or off there as well. Now, work area descriptions. Like I said, when you are setting up your estimate, when you're building your estimate on there on Manage, each work area that you create, which makes it very good for pricing, for setting up the work, you can create a description or notes for that work area. If you make those notes customer centric or kind of for the customer information, you can choose to show those on here as well. If you make them just more as internal notes for the crew, perhaps, you don't have to show them on the proposal, but it does make it, this is a very useful thing here. You can have, when you have the work area set up, you can create a summary in that box, what is happening in this work area, so that is sent to the Word document. After the work areas, again, the next kind of grouping is kits. So the kits themselves, kit quantities, kit pricing, kit descriptions. So with the kits, if I select, again, I cannot show, obviously I cannot show kit quantities or prices if I am not showing the kits. But it is possible to use the kit descriptions without showing the kit names. So this means show the kit names. And if I do show the kit names, then within those kit names, I can also decide, yes, part of the name, I want to see the quantity of the kit. I'd also like to see the price of that kit as well. But the kit descriptions, again, if they've been set up so that they're kind of a customer-centric style, I can choose to show those without having the kit names. So that way, again, if I have descriptions for both descriptions and the kits, I can see them on the proposal, and I can edit them if I need to as well. So again, that's an option to turn that on or off. Now, after the kits, we get into the actual individual items themselves. So within the kits, show plants, show materials, labor, equipment, subcontractors, miscellaneous items. So do that. Now, again, you can show some or all or none, depending on what information you want to present to the client. Within that as well, then beyond that, so if I show the individual items, we have an option is I want to see those actual prices of those items for which I'm showing on there as well. So you can choose that as well. If we choose items other than plants, like if I have equipment, materials, labor, whatever, then I can also choose to show the item descriptions on there. So again, it's an optional thing. Now, for even the next level of detail as well, with it, as you may notice, in the cost book itself, on the individual items, there is a hide on proposal checkbox. If you click that, so you say there was a certain plant or a certain material that you click that for, if I show material, it still will not show that item. Unless, of course, I click this box, then it's basically going to show everything that's on there, whether the hidden flag is turned on or not on there as well. So, like I said, you may have a proposal template that's for internal, for we want to put it as part of the job file. Just print out everything, give me a nice Word document of all the stuff, all the items, all the pricing that's internal. So you can click select as much detail as you want here as well for that. So again, work areas, kits, items, pricing, hidden items as well on there. So again, this is just on a construction estimate, but those same areas, the same thing applies to change orders as well. So if I'm looking at a proposal for a change order, I have these same options that I can choose, and I can have a different, like I said, a different change order layout that I show more or less information for a change order. So depending on what I'm doing, I can, choose to show more or less. Same thing with maintenance. Now we'll look at maintenance briefly as well, because the maintenance has services, it has some other options in there, but it does share these ones as well. Now, there's what contact information do we want to show? Primary contact. Again, if the account type is commercial, which contact name should we show? If the account type is residential, we do show the contact, because we don't show the account name on there as well. The location. So what address should we show on there as well? Primary or billing. If they're the same, then obviously it doesn't matter. But if they're different, then you can choose which one we want to show at the top and the upper left of the proposal document. Now, the other part here on this side, client signature type. This client signature type, this is actually part of the Word document footer. Not like at the very, so on the bottom of every page, there's three options. Basically, we will Manage will automatically put page numbering in, but you can also include as part of that page numbering a spot for them to sign or initial as they've seen every page in there as well. It can be turned off and won't include it, or just in a spot for it says client initials, or if you want a whole signature on there as well. I'll leave it as client initials in that. Now these next two, so we do include the address, but we've had requests for including phone numbers and emails as well. Again, but those are optional. So if you don't want to include these, you can turn them off and no phone number at email will appear. Otherwise, because there are different phone numbers depending on, there's an account number, there's a contact number, you can choose which number that we're going to show, the account number or one of the primary contact numbers as well on there. The email, same thing, the account email or the primary contact email. Which email are we going to show on there if we're going to show it? So I said, this items to show, like I said, we're just basically, we're turning things on or off depending on what information, how much information you want to send over there as well. Now, in the other details section, again, so this is now after we've listed all the price and the work areas and the kits and the materials and all that stuff. We have a few sections below that where agreement details. So basically what we'll put this is relatively new as well, that if there is no text in this box, then we will skip this section. This section will not appear on the Word document. If there is text, then we will put the primary contact's name and whatever text is in this box over here for that. So that's what, and again, we'll open up Word and you can see where it's going to go as well. Signature title. So basically, this is referring to the company. Whoever is flagged as the salesperson on this estimate, their name will automatically appear on the proposal, and this is the title that goes beside their name. If this title, if this title is blank, if there's no title here, then again, we will now omit that salesperson information section there as well for that. It can be salesperson, it can be the company name, whatever, you guys are comfortable with there as well. This signature lines, this one here, this one pertains to the customer. So how many client signature lines do we want to show on the Word document? So the three values that work here, 0, 1, or 2. So don't show any customer signature lines. Obviously show 1 or show 2. We'll just leave it as 1. You show 1 on there as well. Now, we've also added some additional things like, again, the expiry date. So the estimates, whether it's construction or maintenance, they all have expiry dates on the top, 30 days, whatever, you can choose the expiry date. That'll be shown on the proposal document. If we want to turn it off, we can uncheck this box here as well. The payment schedule. Again, if it's milestone billing or percentage of completion, milestone will show these are the projected milestone payments. If you don't want to show those can be turned off as well. Payment terms. If I'm putting the payment terms into a footer, like if I'm using the payment terms somewhere else, the payment terms come from the account settings, the billing info tab of the account. So that's where they're initially set. If I want to show them on the proposal, I can leave the box checked or uncheck it as well on there. So those, again, that's the other details. And once we get to Word, we'll kind of show you where they are. But basically, you can turn as much really here on or off as you'd like as well. Now, in the proposal headers here, so the proposal headers and proposal footers. Now, I won't talk about setting these up, but we'll go into that in a little bit here, like in a couple minutes. The proposal headers, setting them up, and the footers, that's done in the settings area. This is selecting, when I choose this template, which headers and footers do I want to see on there as well. Now, deleting them from here is simply, again, we're just deleting them from this template. We're not obviously deleting them from the entire system as well. And so again, you can stack headers or footers. You can have more than one. That's fine as well on there. And you can control. Now, you'll notice that in here there is a blank option where I can add a blank one, and then I can create it from here as well. So if you do want to add one on the fly, you can do it from here as well. There is an option to save it as a template, so then it goes into the system, so I can use it going forward also. But again, what I would recommend most times is that if you are going to put a new header that you're going to use frequently or fairly frequently, do it from the settings. That way it's all configured and you can use it as well. Delete that one. Again, it says delete the header. It's simply removing it from this template. Again, I'll talk about the fonts in a little bit when we get to that as well. I'll hit save. You see there's a delete button there if I don't want to use it anymore. So again, whatever I've selected has changed. So what I mean, so if I choose maintenance here, these proposal headers disappear. If I go back to this one, they appear again. If I delete them from here, again, I'm only deleting them from this estimate itself when I want to run this proposal layout. I can easily get it back by choosing landscape, and again, it'll come back again on there. So when I send it to Word, again, it goes on there relatively quickly. Just pop up Word here as well. I just want to kind of just review where it's going in Word. It's pretty straightforward on there. So basically, again, logo, company information over here. I chose to show the phone number, so the phone number goes right over there. Like I said, if I don't have the phone number, it'll only put the address of this residential client here. Because it's residential, it shows the contact person instead of the account name. So this is the name of the estimate. Then again, this is the proposal header. So again, like I said, if you guys, if you're into, just as a summary, why you should choose our company, some details in here, like really, we're proud of this proposal of our work that we do. Like it doesn't have to be this long. It can be shorter. It can be like a couple sentences. Like this is why we should choose us as a company on there. So we have that. The proposal header always goes first before anything else. Now, once the header's done, then we get into the work areas. And again, I have a work area description in this particular case, just as an example here. Work area description, I chose to show the plants. So again, if you're going to show any items, whether it's plants or materials or anything else, It'll be listed in a table here with the quantity and the name, and the plants have a size, the materials don't have a size, and which have the quantity and the name. There's no pricing unless, of course, you turn on the pricing. Then in this same table, there'll be another column that shows the pricing of the materials as well on there. And then work area pricing here. So there's no kit pricing, there's no unit pricing, no unit item pricing, just work area pricing, next work area description, work area total price there as well. So like I said, again, you can turn these off, on or off if you'd like also. Now, this is a section here. This is where the items to show, logo, items to the side, customer information, work area, all that. After the grand total, then we get into the other details section from the proposal template. So again, the salesperson, their name shows up here. We gave the title salesperson, so that's what comes here. Again, if you put the company name will appear as well. If this field is blank, this whole section will not be visible as well. The agree to the contract agreement details, like I said, we show the primary contact listed here and put the text. If that section's blank, or if there's not, then this will not be there as well. And then we chose one client signature section right here. The valid date, again, is just coming from the estimate we set. We set the actual proposal expiry date on the estimate itself, but showing this is done from that estimate template. Payment schedule, from the estimate we chose to show this. So this can be turned off. This whole table can be turned off as well, as can this payment terms. These are the other things that in that other detail section, you can choose to turn these off as you'd like as well on there. You can see in the Word footer as well, there's automatic page numbering, but on the right side, we have this client initials box here as well for that. Now, after this payment terms, or again, after that section, if it's not there, that's when we go into the footer. So then the footer will show, again, can be terms and conditions. It can be warranty information. It can be other details, payment details. If you want to put payment terms in the footers, it could be that as well on there. So again, and this is where if you have some warranty in your footers, you have a plant warranty, we have a hardscaping warranty. If on the, I can have them ready, so you can have multiple footers available in the system, but only use them if the situation needs. So we do an estimate, we're doing a full hardscaping estimate, no planting, I don't need to show the plant warranty. I can take that plant warranty footer out on there as well. Now, if you want to have one that's standard, just always goes on, that's also fine. But if you do have them separated, then you can choose to show one or the other depending as well. So you'll notice again, there's the header, you can control the size of the text in the header and the footer and in the work area details as well. So all that, we can talk about that. Let's go into that next. So like the header and the footer show up there, the spacing comes on here. The actual headers and footers themselves. So how much information we're showing comes from the proposal template. So before I get into the headers and footers themselves and the text sizing on there, I'm just going to briefly look at the maintenance estimate proposal, because again, there are a few slightly different options on there because of the services on those as well. So I'll just leave this one open here. I'll go back into manage, cancel here. I'm going to open up our maintenance. I have maintenance estimates set up here. I'm going to go into the proposal tab. So again, slightly different way to get to it, but still the exact same idea. I click the proposal, it runs. I have what template am I choosing. Again, you see all it does have the same templates available. I'm going to click edit on this one just to show you a few of the differences. Like all the other ones here, same page number, page header, like all that's the same. But because instead of having work areas and maintenance, we have the services. So the services here, we can do summary on the first page for maintenance. I can turn that. The first page is typically a summary of these are the services, this is the cost without any detail. That can be turned on or off there as well. Then there's contract dates. When is this maintenance contract valid through? And you can, again, turn those on or off as well. Then services, which service do I want to see? Included, T&M, optional, as needed, on demand. So each of those services can be, again, turned on or off on the maintenance specifically. And then I can show those services, but then different from that, I can choose to show the pricing on those services. So I can choose to show the pricing of certain ones as well. Now I can't show the pricing of T&M because I don't have that included on there as well. So you can show services, you can only choose to show pricing on specific kinds of services as well. And if you want to, if there is a discount you want to show, you can turn that on. If not, leave it off. The description, again, just like kind of the work area description, we are able to show this service, this is what we're going to do. We're going to come once a week to do the mowing and the trimming, and then you can include that all in the services as well, description. And then because services, typically are just an X number of visits we're going to do, we have options to show number of visits, frequency, additional pricing on there as well. But like I said, the rest is still kits. Have my items, have the others. All the other information is the same, just that there are some specific maintenance ones. But again, you can turn off services, you can turn on pricing, turn off pricing for specific kinds of services as well on there. So like I said, different templates, you can have different levels of information going from Manage to Word on there as well. And again, change orders, the proposal, same thing. You can create a specific proposal information for a change order scenario as well, the exact same on there. So we looked at that a couple weeks ago in the previous masterclass. Now, the proposal headers and footers. Again, the best place to deal with those is in the settings. In the settings area, under estimate settings, there are proposal headers. They have their own section, proposal headers and proposal footers on there. Now, I'll look at a couple headers here. When you make the header, again, you can make new ones, click new proposal header, and then you can add type stuff into there as well when you're doing it. I'll also open up one of these ones, existing ones here. So in the header itself, so there's things like when you're typing, if you just type the text in here directly, then and don't do any formatting, when we send that to Word, it's going to be an Arial, specifically, it's going to go into Arial in 10 point. However, if you want to change that, you can select these. This actually is specifically set to Arial on here as well, and there's a sizing. Now, with the size, I just want to kind of cover what the sizing is because it looks, really small in here. The sizing that's up in here is extra, extra small, medium, large, extra large, double X. Basically, extra, extra small is 8, 10, 12, 14 for medium. So medium is 14 point, whatever font you've chosen on there as well. Large is 18, extra large is 24, double extra large is 36 points. So again, if you send it to Word, you can see it tells you what it is, but just again, it goes 8, 10, 12, 14 for the first four. Those are the ones that are used most often. Then it goes 18, 24, 36. So again, if you're just wondering what they are, that's kind of how those sizes convert to fonts on there as well. Like I said, if you specified a size here, like if you select the text, you can see it's specified at extra small, that'll go in at 10 point Arial on there as well. And this header here, large, is going to go across that 18 point Arial font as well. Also, again, bold, underline, italics on there as well. And this one's aligned to the center. So again, there's a few things you can format in here as well. So one of the things that comes up once in a while is that, so as you're typing into here, and if you hit enter, if you just hit the enter and you start new paragraph here as well, do that. This again, so you've hit a one enter in here. When this goes to Word, sometimes it puts an extra space, or it's like a whole full paragraph spacing in Word. If you just want to kind of go to the next line, so when you're in here, one editing thing you can do, I just hit enter here once, so I didn't want to have a huge space. If I kind of wanted to keep it tight, instead of hitting enter, if you hit shift enter, it'll basically just go to the next line on there as well. So it's a kind of a thing inside our text editor here. Hitting shift enter, it's just like going to the next line. It's not doing a full paragraph space in Word on there. So it does keep the lines closer together. So if you're wondering, sometimes when I have a header or a footer, the spacing seems excessive, you may have to go in there and do some editing in here, hitting shift enter between paragraphs as well, instead of doing the full regular enter, because it does do a whole thing. Now, a couple things, again, it's not specifically with Manage, but you can cut and paste into here, and that's fine. If you're cutting and pasting from Word, a lot of times it'll work on there as well, but sometimes, again, because there's a lot of formatting already, there may be formatting set in here that you can't see, so that may require some editing in here after you send it to, when you send this to Word a couple of times, to kind of see what's actually going through on there as well. So, sometimes it's best if you paste it into a text editor and then paste it into here, because it'll strip off all of that hidden formatting that you can't see that Word is putting in there as well for that on there. So when you do that again, so the other thing that I want to do, you set them up in here, the best place to edit them. So if you need to change the font, I want to add some more detail, I need to put a couple more paragraphs, I want to get some more bold, I don't like where the bolding is, I need to change some details. This is whenever you want to change the headers to footers, the best place to do it is go to the settings, go into the header templates, footer templates, make the change, click the save button there as well. Now, I'll open up a new one here. I'll show this one right here as well for that. So you can see again, if I have the font size selected, it'll tell me. If I make a new one, if I click on new header, if I start typing, then you'll see that again, I don't have an explicit font or size selected. Basically, we'll just send this over. I said this will automatically go to Arial 10 points across. That goes in there. It's not going to change because the rest of the Word document is that text anyway. If you wanted to have it, again, like I said, if you leave it, that's fine. It'll go to Arial. If you want something specific, so you don't have to choose Arial. It'll come across as Arial. Unless you specifically choose something else, then you can have a different one on there as well. So if you do edit this, whether it's a header or footer, when you make the edit, you save this proposal template, you save the proposal footer template, you save those changes, then you are going to have to go back to the templates to do that. So again, you make the changes here. It's the best place to make the changes is like in the settings area. Once they've been made, you go back into an estimate, whether it's, again, it doesn't have to be specifically maintenance or construction because you can access the templates from any estimate on there. So you would find, the template you want to change. This one here, I hit edit, and then basically I would remove the header here and go to actions again, remove it. So I'm taking it out, and then I basically will then re-add it in, and then so when I'm re-adding it, any changes are coming from the settings. So when I save it in the settings area, it doesn't automatically update these. So you have to come in here, go into the templates, remove it, re-add it, then you can save it, and then whatever changes you're made, they'll be pulling it directly. New one is coming from the settings as well on there as well. So that's, again, the best way to do that is to change it in the settings, go into the templates, remove them, add them on there as well. Now, again, in some cases, so you'll save it, update on there as well. You'll notice that, again, if I'm on this cell, let me just choose this, for example, here. If I choose a header here, I can choose headers here as well and have them set up. So if I run this proposal, whenever I come to this estimate, I'll see this template with these headers and footers. But if I actually want to make sure that what I'm selecting on this template, you want to click the edit button, because it may be that I have just added these headers and footers specifically for this estimate. They're not actually part of the template. So I can go into here, edit, and I can see that actually by default, I'm not pulling those headers and footers up as well. So just because they're shown on the first screen there doesn't mean that we're going to be that they're actually part of the template. Because like I said, you do have flexibility. We're saying typically when I choose this template here, I want to see those headers and those footers. But over here, again, I don't need the plant material one. I want to add a different one. So I want to add in the lighting and irrigation warranty. Okay, now I have a second one here as well. Like I said, so you can, and again, you can edit them here. Again, if I edit them here, the one thing is like you can definitely edit them here as well. You can see, you can change it. This is only changing it for this right here. It's not changing it across the board on there as well. Like I said, the best place, if you do need to make a change I want to reflect that this change always going forward, then the best place to do that is, again, go to the settings, make the change in the settings, then come back and update them here. But I said, for one-off, you want to make a change. Say if you had a header that you kind of customize certain parts depending on the client, you can make those changes in here. Then they're not going to be propagated through all the headers and footers as well in there for that. Now, again, like I said, it's really the majority of stuff that I wanted to cover for today, because it's a little bit of a shorter master class. Like I said, kind of talking about the headers, the footers, the templates, like I said, the proposal templates, construction estimates, change orders, maintenance estimates. They each can have their own template. The drop-down list, the drop-down list is shared here. it's shared which templates that we have. Again, you can use them on every one, you can edit them, and then the changes are applied on there as well. But obviously the best place to do it is you can edit them directly in their thing. So you can have different ones for different scenarios on there. And each one can show or hide different levels of information. And you can edit them and you can save it for use going forward. So if someone, they can have their own, they like to present it a certain way, that's fine. The headers and the footers themselves, again, the best place to edit that is in the settings. Then you want to go back to the templates and re-add them if they're set up in the templates. Re-add them for use on there if they're already there. Remove them and re-add them. That way, any changes you made are there. And again, just to reiterate again, the sizes, whenever you're looking at it again, and this is not specific to the headers or footers. This also applies. So if I go into an estimate and if I look at, again, in this case, I'm looking at the service, which is analogous to a work area. I have in the customer description here, same kind of thing. I can edit them here, same font sizes. So again, extra small is 8 point, extra small is 10 point, small is 12, medium is 14, large is 18, extra large is 24, and extra large is 36 point on there as well. So this applies to headers and footers, service descriptions, work area descriptions, kit descriptions, and also proposal notes. So same thing. If I have proposal notes, also applies to those as well. So that applies across all of Manage on there as well. Those text settings, that formatting gets applied across all of them on there as well. So again, I just want to say thanks everyone for attending. Like I said, we're going to record this session. The session is recorded. We'll have it edited and then put up onto the site with the other one. Again, if you have any questions, you can always contact our support guys as well at 1-800-710-1900 extension 1. And we look forward to talking to you guys again next week when we're going to have another masterclass. Jordan will jump on that one as well. Take care of you guys as well. Again, any questions, let us know. Hope to talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.